Hi guys, it's Amy. Welcome to Strength Reversed. Thanks for joining me for my first quarterly catch-up of 2021, where we get caught up on what I've been up to for January, February, and March of 2021. And as I look at my list of things, it seems like it seems like a lot, but I haven't been terribly productive, and I haven't really accomplished a lot of what I wanted to accomplish the first part of the year, and I'm trying not to have negative interactions with myself because of that. It is what it is, and I'm just going to share with you what I've read, what I've watched, and what I've been up to as far as tarot and YouTube. So I'll start with tarot. I've been working primarily with a couple of decks. Well, actually with one deck, but at the beginning of the year, Jason from Tarot by the Pines got me the Golden Girls Tarot. And I already had this bag from my mom, and it's the cutest. And of course, it goes perfectly with the Golden Girls Tarot. If you like the Golden Girls, I think this novelty deck, which I would call this, is done really well. Some of decks like this have all pip cards, and this one doesn't. Every card is illustrated, and I think some thought went into what goes with what card. And it was really well done, and I like it. So I'm super excited to be using this. And I'm also working a lot this year with my Titanic Tarot and getting to know that a little more, and I'll tell you more about what I've been doing. I'm working with this as my daily draws because I'm going to be doing an upcoming live on Manuela's channel. That is A Place of Stillness. That'll be coming up on April 10th, and we'll be doing readings with our Titanic Tarots. Also, I went to my first tarot conference, which was StarCon. That's Christiana Gaudet's annual conference. And it's always here in Florida, so I thought I was going to be able to go live and in person. And then, I couldn't. But it was online, and I learned a lot. It was loads of information. Let's see, who was there? Mary K. Greer was there talking about the Hanged Man. Benabel Wen had a talk about shamanic tarot, which was fascinating. And I thought I was going to meet my friend Marion from Marion K. Tarot. She's from Scotland. She was planning to travel all the way to Florida to be at this conference because she presented. And then, of course, that didn't happen. But I am going to have her also on my channel in April. So more to come about that. Let's see. At the beginning of the year, I did an Instagram challenge called hashtag 2021 January Power. And it was by, oh my gosh, healer.josephine. I will put the link to her Instagram. I really like her Instagram. It's loads of information. It's very positive, and her challenges are usually every other day, which I like because it gives time for the information to percolate, and every day becomes burdensome. So what was I saying? Sorry, I just took migraine meds. I'm a little loopy. It's fun. Yes, so go to her Instagram. I will link it below. My word for this year is personal authority. So that was a perfect start to the new year. It was kind of about how you give away personal power and how you can also take back personal power. I did on YouTube the Gratitude Challenge for 2021, hosted by the lovely Jen at Science to Soul Tarot. And if you would like to watch some uplifting, positive, motivational videos, then just look that tag up on YouTube, and lots of people have done responses. They're just very heartfelt, I would say. And it was a great way, a positive way to start the year, because you just take a card and you find what you have to be grateful for what that card's telling you you can be grateful for. And I really got a lot out of each card that I pulled. And then I did a couple prompts from the 31 Days of Tarot, but I feel like the prompts came out very late this year, and a lot of them were about decks, and I can't talk about the same 5 tarot decks for 31 days. And by the time the prompts came out, lots of people had already done their, top 5 decks for 2020 and whatnot. So I didn't get into it so much this year, but I did a couple. I started doing a series of lives on my channel, which I had kind of wanted to do. And I wanted to interview people who have smaller and newer channels, because I really remember, I still feel like I am a smaller, newer channel, but I remember being at that place where I didn't have a lot of subscribers, and I felt like, am I talking to anybody? And I just wanted people to be able to get their names out there. And so first of all, Rochelle from Amethyst Ascension had me on her channel, and then she was on mine. And Maria, Lady Knight of Avalon, I did some live readings with her. And so they really mentored me and kind of helped me get over my fear. So thank you, ladies. And I interviewed Angela from Tiny Trinkets and Tarot. And I have some trinkets now. I started a trinket collection. And my mom's friend Susie was nice enough to send me some trinkets that I might go through on a video. And so she gave them to my mom, and my mom sent them. And so I opened this, and I was like, oh, it's rice. Thanks, Mom. But it's not rice, it's trinkets. It's fun trinkets. And let's see. I interviewed my friend Jason from Tarot by the Pines. If you have not seen the video he did with Papa Squirrel about oracle cards versus tarot cards, you have to see it. Hello, you beautiful people. I interviewed Gerald from Tarot Stash and the Hermit Mage, and he really inspired me to start going more in depth with writing, because he has a prompt, kind of an ongoing thing called tarot writing prompts. And I told him I'm not super into fiction writing. I don't like that process. And he said, well, it doesn't have to be fiction. So I started with my Titanic Tarot, pulling a card of the day, and then doing some more extended writing about that card. And it's been insightful, and I've really enjoyed it. And I've read a couple of them to myself and thought, that's not half bad. Maybe I'll put out a video. And then I interviewed the lovely Kristen from Kristen Louise Tarot, and we're looking forward to maybe doing some Scorpio readings, maybe live. I interviewed Allison from Tech Coven. I still haven't gotten a hula hoop, Allison. That's still on the to-do list. So I've been really happy with all of the interviews that I've done. The people have been very lovely and easy to talk to, and they've been super fun. So I think I'm going to continue doing that. Let's see. I'll move on to books. That's pretty much what's been keeping me busy tarot-wise. I haven't, like I said, accomplished a lot of the stuff for my channel that I've wanted to, but again, trying not to be too hard on myself. So books. I have read this book called Game Changer. This is the cover. I gave it back to the school library. It's by Tommy Greenwald. Here's my dirty little tarot secret. Well, no, it's a dirty teacher secret. I don't really love a lot of young adult literature. It's just somehow not satisfying. It doesn't go very deep, and it's, to me, a little predictable. And this book was. It's about a high school football player who's in a coma. He got hit very hard in a practice, and it turned out to be some sort of hazing thing. But it's told in poetic prose, which I think is a trend, and it's just kind of lazy writing. That sounds harsh, but there's like, can you put a period and a comma where they belong so these kids learn how to fucking read and write, okay? And then it's like the margins are this big, so it looks like you've written a whole book, but it's really should be skinny. And then there's a picture of a cell phone and you're reading text messages. And this is a new trend to try to hook young readers, because we're at the point where, sadly, a lot of my students in middle school are not readers. They don't read for pleasure. And they, certainly will stare at their phone. But here's my message to parents of middle schoolers. Your child still needs a bedtime, and you need to take their phone away. You need to limit their access. So that's one book. I read toward the beginning of the year Atomic Habits, which I got for Christmas. This is by James Clear. It's fabulous. It's about tiny changes and getting big changes from just making little tiny changes little by little. And he teaches you how to attach new behaviors to routines that you already have. So it's pretty easy to incorporate new habits. I'm loving this. This is one of those books that I'll keep going back to. I also started at the beginning of the year, I read Psychic Yoga, and it is by Shannon Rizari. I'm sorry, Shannon, if I mispronounced your name. She has a lot of good breathing practices at the beginning of the book, a lot of good visualization and meditation practices, but the book connects chakras and yoga. So she has a lot of, I don't know how earth-shattering a lot of this information is as far as which yoga poses go with which chakra, but she has some good information, and I'm enjoying going through this. I did enjoy it because I went through it. This one's kind of random. It's called the Khmers of Cambodia. Every year I teach a big unit about Vietnam in the 1960s, and I've become a little more interested in reading about the Khmer Rouge. And I was hoping that this book would help me understand it more, but I got it in a giveaway. But I realized after I started it that it was published in 1970, which was just before the Khmer Rouge. But it's a quick read and fascinating, a very interesting history of Cambodia. It's, a long, thousands of years complex history with, all of Southeast Asia. I reread Fahrenheit 451. It's an oldie but a goodie, and if you are down with cancel culture, you should probably read that book. What I just finished up is Waltzing the Cat by Pam Houston. And this is a book of short stories that are interconnected. They have the same protagonist. She's a professional photographer, and she travels and learns about herself and has a not so functional love life. And it's very heartfelt, but it's also very humorous. So I really like humor, and I love a short story. That's my favorite way to digest literature is the short story. So you guys, I'm still doing yoga, and I'm working on crow. I feel like there was a big backslide in crow. I was getting it, I was balancing, and now I feel like I'm a baby at it again. I'm working on Ekapada Kundinyasana 1. I'm working on mermaid, and I've started getting into Ashtanga a little bit. And Ashtanga is a bit more vigorous. A full series is 90 minutes, but y'all, I can't concentrate on anything for 90 minutes. So I've pushed myself to get to maybe 45 minutes, and then I think, okay, that's enough yoga for me. I'm good. I'm still, not at the gym. I did get my first shot, and I get my second one next week, which I'm dreading a little bit because, my ex-husband just got his today, and he's like, I feel like I've been hit by a Mack truck. So I'm hoping, no reaction. But in May, I will probably start going back to Orange Theory. But I have been doing a lot of trail running this past year, and I've discovered some new trails, rediscovered some of the trails in my area, and I just love trail running. You can do it when it's hot because you're in the shade. Even if it's drizzling, the trees cover you. I am not a sidewalk runner. It's boring and it makes my joints hurt. Okay, that's pretty much it for, oh, no, I will tell you, I accidentally got off caffeine about 6 weeks ago, maybe. I was having a lot of anxiety and panic come up that I haven't felt for a long time. I don't know if it was something physiological or something mental emotional, but I had been having a little voice in the back of my head for several months before that, whispering at me to get off caffeine. And so I did. I'm still drinking like a lot of coffee, but I'm all decaf. For some reason, I really crave a regular cup of coffee still, but I never had headaches or, my sleeping hasn't really changed. So, I'm just gonna stay with it. And I also accidentally got off eggs recently for another reason. And we'll see. And then promptly made a bunch of Easter eggs that are sitting in the fridge. Okay. We'll see how the eggs thing goes. But if you're looking for some good shows to watch, of course I watched a lot of shows. I'm a TV gal, and I seem to be called to a lot of documentaries the first quarter of the year, but also a lot of fluff. So here's the fluff first. Michael and I watched Flight Attendant on HBO Max, and it's with her name Kaylee Cuomo. She was in the one about the science geeks. I don't know. I don't watch that show, but I can't, I'm really bad with names. And plus, the migraine medicine. But she is a flight attendant who wakes up and the guy she was with is dead, and it's this whole thing where the government's after her. And anyway, it's a little far-fetched, but it's entertaining, and it's a limited series, so I like that. I don't like when they try to take stories that could be wrapped up in 6 episodes and try to make 6 seasons out of it. I don't like that. I watched on Prime Lazy Susan, and it was absolutely hysterical. I loved that. I've watched it twice. I watched it, and then I made Michael watch it with me. And it's with Sean, what's his name, who was on Will and Grace. Anyway, he plays a woman named Susan who's like in her 30s and not gainfully employed and still, asks her parents for money and acts like a spoiled brat. And she makes all these collages. It's very funny. I loved it. I loved that movie. I watched I Care a Lot on Netflix. I wanted to like it. I didn't like it. Just didn't like it. I felt like there was no one to root for, and I felt like they were trying to make it into this girl power kind of thing, which it was not. It was not girl power. So, meh. The Sinner with Bill Pullman. We watched, Michael and I, all 3 seasons. Like, we would watch a few episodes every weekend. And the first 2 seasons were very good. He plays a detective, and it's one of those shows where each season is a different case. So it's kind of like a mini series each season. And the 3rd season really jumped the shark. It just got stupid. And we were like, this is ridiculous. And there's supposed to be a 4th season. I don't know if I'll watch it. We did, though, watch Coming to America 2. If you've seen Coming to America and you loved Coming to America, you gotta watch number 2, because almost all of the characters make an appearance. And it's really, everyone loves to see that. How is this person aged? There were only 2 characters, the sister and then Eric LaSalle, who played the Soul Glow guy, that neither one of them were in it. and everyone on the internet was asking about that. But it's really fun to watch if you've seen the first one. So the documentaries I watched were The Disappearance at the Cecil Hotel, which is something that kept me up at nights. And it was not what I expected, but in a good way. I'm sure you may have seen the video several years ago of the young woman who was in the elevator of the hotel, and it was like, who is she talking to? And she had this bizarre behavior, and then she was found in the water tank of the hotel. They did focus on that. That was the story, but within that, they focused on how amateur online sleuths, all of these chat rooms and little communities that form to try to solve this mystery, really didn't know what they were talking about, and they criticized the police a lot, and they didn't have all of the information, and there were a couple of people whose lives were ruined by these online groups. So it was very good. That was on Netflix. Another one I watched, I'm not sure where it was, but it was The House of Sue, about Andrew Sue, whose sister manipulated him into killing her fiance. And that was just, tragic. Just really tragic. But well done. I watched on Discovery Plus a documentary about the Estonia. It was called Estonia. This is the ship that that's based in Estonia that went down, I think, in the 90s, and there was a cover-up. But the first episode is just gut-wrenching. It is survivors telling you their experience of this ship going down and how terrifying it was. And the rest of the documentary is, there was this debate about recovering the survivors that were still, not the survivors, but the victims who were still under the sea, and a government cover-up about why it actually sank. And that was pretty fascinating. There was a documentary called Made You Look on Netflix, and that was about counterfeit art that was sold for tens of millions of dollars in New York City by these, art dealers, and how they could possibly be fooled by this fake art. And was the real art that good if people can copy it so easily? That was pretty good. And I did watch the college admissions scandal. And that was, I felt like a guilty pleasure watching it, but it was kind of cool the way they did it, because all of the dialogue was the tapes of phone conversations. So they didn't make up any of the dialogue. It was the actual phone conversations that the government listened to. And that, yeah. I wasn't shocked by anyone paying their kids way into college, but it is kind of low. Okay, so that's how I've been spending my first, there's other stuff, of course, that I'm up to, but that's what I've been doing for the last few months, and I'm hoping to start doing some other stuff on my YouTube channel that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And this month I will see you on A Place of Stillness for some Titanic readings, and I will also see you here on my channel when I talk to Mary and Kay, who's all the way in Scotland, and we'll have a wee blither, as she would say. So, okay guys, I will talk to you later. Thank you so much.